Today I'm going to share with you a very simple and useful technique that will help you to communicate better with the people around you. And this technique focuses on improving communication with a loved one, for example, someone in your family or your best friend. Or if you're a little bit creative with this technique, it can also help you to enhance relationships that you have with your coworkers and other people. The technique is called rewind the tape. It is easy to understand, and this is a communication technique that can save relationships. I am Arata from Arata Academy, and our company offers a wide selection of online training programs. We've made this video for free for you to access in our YouTube channel. You can find in Arata Academy English. This is a way of saying thank you for supporting us. And if this is the first time that you're visiting us, you can also feel free to register your email at arataacademy.com, and then you can have access to even more materials. For you to make the most of the rewind the tape technique, all you need is pen and paper to take notes of anything that you are going to be thinking about in this video. And if you need to, you can pause the video now, make time to get your paper, get your pen, and then we're going to have a lot of notes in this video. Are you ready? Brilliant. The rewind the tape technique works for just like those old cassette tape players. Do you remember them? If you wanted to listen to the tape again, all you had to do was to press a button to go back to the start of the tape, and then it would start again. So in our case, rewinding the tape means showing respect and listening intently to the other person. The reason is that a lot of miscommunication can happen when someone only hears what they want to hear, not actually what is being said. And this is called selective listening. The worst type of listening is when you're in the middle of a conversation, just impatiently waiting for your opportunity to wait when it is your turn to speak what is in your mind. And then you don't listen. The focus is totally on yourself. All you want to do is talk, but you don't really have your full attention to what is being said. You might be listening, but you're not listening to understand the other person. You're just listening in order to find faults in the argument of the other person, to prove that they are wrong and that you are right. You find that your sentences usually will start with, yeah, okay, but, and from then on, you just keep shooting your arguments at the other person until it seems more like a debate rather than a conversation. Rewind the tape is a crucial technique to help you to improve your communication. Personally, when I do this rewind the tape, I make a conscious effort to be quiet, still, leave my ideas for later. First, I make a point of showing respect by listening to what the other person is saying. And as soon as this person finishes speaking, I repeat what I just heard. I listen by rewinding the tape from the start. So please write down in your notebook some ways that you can use to do this. All right, thank you for explaining what you feel to me. By this, you mean that, then you repeat what you heard. Or, okay, I think I get it. In other words, you, Is that right? Please correct me if I'm wrong. Or, help me understand what you said. I understood that, Or another way would be, it is really important for me to understand what you said. Is it okay for me that I repeat what I understood? Is it true that... See, in all these sample sentences, we have two main parts. The first part is showing that you genuinely want to communicate well, that you want to understand the point of the other person. The second part is a repetition of what you just heard. This is what you understood. The rewind the tape technique will help to strengthen the relationship you have with that person that you're talking to. They will feel more encouraged to speak about things that they may have been holding back. And when you use this technique, both you and the person that you're talking to, you will realize that when someone is actually showing interest in what is being said, you can get everything out of your chest instead of burdening yourself with it. In the most heated moments of that conversation, it is important to remember the purpose of communicating. is to be respectful. Take the time to listen, making sure that you've understood what the other person has said. Only then should you speak. Before you begin to say what is in your mind, ask what the person wants to tell you. Give them time. Only open yourself up and say whatever you want to say when you're sure that the other person has said everything that they want to say. Make sure that they are interested in listening to your points too. If they do want to listen, and if they really want to understand, put effort into expressing yourself in a clear way. And then you can use the rewind the tape technique, but on its head. When you finish speaking, you can ask the other person what they understood from what you said. So here are a few examples. So and so, I have a great deal of respect for you and I want to be sure that you understood what I said. Can you please tell me what you heard so we can check if we are both on the same page? Or, I'm not sure if I chose the right words to express myself. Will you help me to figure out what did you hear from me? Or, shall we check if we are on the same page here? Tell me please what you understood from this conversation. Do you see what we're doing here? This is the rewind the tape technique, but it is on the other way around. It is the other person that will tell you what they understood. And we do this because we don't want to say something and have the other person think something else. By reversing this rewind the tape technique, you can be able to see if there is any communication problem. And then, of course, you can work on addressing it. Before this video ends, I want to give you 2 extra tips, but before that, let's review what we've covered so far. Many communication problems happen when we say one thing, but the other person we're speaking to might understand something else. The opposite can also happen. People say something to us, but we interpret in a wrong way. A first step towards improving our communication skills is to pay attention, is to listen to what the other person is actually saying. So stop focusing when it's going to be your turn to start talking. Instead of that, focus on what is being actually said. And to make sure that you understand what was said, you can use the rewind the tape technique. You can repeat what you understood, and you can ask if that's actually what was meant. Because if you got the wrong end of the stick, you can also ask the other person to explain in different words what they said. Only after I've finished hearing everything that the other person has to say, then I can ask if they are interested to listen to what I have to say. And then I'm going to use the rewind the tape technique, but backwards. Once I finish, I ask them to tell what they understood. Then I can offer to rephrase what I was saying in case they don't actually get the true meaning of my words. And I hope with this advice, you can go on and have healthy and very interesting conversations. But remember, I promised to give you 2 extra tips. Number 1, be careful when the other person says something like, oh, yeah, okay, I get it. When you use the rewind the tape technique, you can ask the other person to tell you what they heard, and then they'll probably go and say, yeah, never mind, I get it already. Let's move on. When this happens, you need to insist that they answer your real question. You can say something like, I did not ask if you understood. I asked you to please tell me what you understood. They may say something like, yeah, I understood what you're saying. What did you understand? Please tell me, what did you understand? So I know that, we are really on the same page here. You see, the rewind the tape technique will only work properly if the other person actually correctly repeats the message that you wanted to convey. And the extra tip number 2 is to be careful not to lose your cool. If you lose your temper in the middle of a conversation, it will be quite hard to keep on listening. Becomes difficult to be heard. In this quick video, we're not going to go too deep in this area, but basically you need to keep in mind is that the other person in front of you does not want to offend you. They don't want to hurt you. They don't want to be unfair to you. They're just communicating in the way that they're able to, that they know. They're just opening up. So it is your role to continue improving this. In this kind of conversation, the most important thing you can do is to listen. Because of this, the last thing you want is to have both of you hurling insults about who's right, who's wrong. The only thing that will really help the conversation to move along is to show respect by listening and trying your best to understand. I know that sometimes you might have extra questions after watching this kind of video, and that's really good. Asking questions allows us to reflect on what we've learned and use our creativity as a way to improve things. Let us take it one step at a time. If you just do the basics, if you just do the rewind the tape technique right now, practice in a way, the way you saw in this video, I'm quite sure you're going to get great results. And feel free to share here in the comments how did you use the rewind the tape technique and how it is affecting, improving your communication skills. Just by being here at the end of this video, I'm quite sure that you are interested in improving your communication techniques. And we have, Arata Academy has a specific course on effective communication. You can see more by going to arata.se /howtosayno.